There are many people in life that have dreams that go unfulfilled. Steve Spagnuolo was one of those. Welcome everybody to JJ News, where we talk all things NFL all the time. I'm Jerry Arnott, representing the 904 from the 602, and today we are talking about the news that came out this Super Bowl week that Kansas City Chiefs defensive coordinator Steve Spagnuolo wants another shot to be a head coach in the National Football League. He spoke with the press earlier this week, and he said that he loves being the defensive coordinator of the Chiefs. He said that he's okay if we keep going to Super Bowls, but he did say that he would love to be a coach again in this league, getting that top spot. Said Spagnuolo, I would love being a head coach again, just because I think you always want another chance in it. And I loved having a whole team. For those who don't know, Steve Spagnuolo was the head coach of the St. Louis Rams from 2009 to 2011. He was also the interim head coach with the New York Giants for a few games when they fired Ben McAdoo in the middle of the 2017 season. And having said that, Steve Spagnuolo, I get he wants to be a head coach again. He seems content with the Chiefs job, but if an opportunity opens up, he would love to take it, but he will have to wait a long, long time. I don't think that's ever coming. Look, there are some guys that are built to be great coordinators, but not so great head coaches. Wade Phillips is one of them. Marion Campbell, great defensive coordinator of the Swamp Fox, but terrible head coach. Josh McDaniels had tons of success with New England. Obviously, his 2 head coaching stints with the Broncos and the Raiders, not so much. Bill Arnsparger, phenomenal defensive coordinator under Don Shula, made the 70s Dolphins what they were. Terrible head coach with the Giants. Buddy Ryan, 4-6 defense, mastermind in that regard. Not a good head coach whatsoever with the Eagles and the Cardinals. At the end of the day, Steve Spagnuolo went 10-38 in his 3 seasons with the Rams, winning percentage of 20.8%, 1-15 in 2009, 2-14 in 2011. He's a great defensive coordinator. No one's denying that. He's had a defense with Kansas City that's been in the top half of the league all 5 seasons. It's second this year. It's been top 10 4 out of 5 times. He's a great defensive coordinator. But the resume says otherwise when it comes to his head coaching abilities. There are 201 coaches in the NFL right now with a minimum of 50 games coached. Want to know where Steve Spagnuolo ranks in terms of winning percentage? 199th. 199 out of 201. The 2 coaches below him, Hugh Jackson. He didn't get a second stint because of that. He went 8-8 with the Raiders his first year, so he was 500 before he screwed everything up with the Browns. He did not get another chance after screwing everything up with Cleveland. And then Burt Bell's the other one, who owned the Eagles, and he was the coach of the Eagles at the same time. You're not going to fire yourself. So the 2 guys below him, a guy that was 500 before his second stint and got way too long of a leash, and a guy who was the owner of the team and just didn't want to fire himself. Spagnuolo is not going to get a second chance. On top of that, he is no spring chicken. If he was 45 years old, we might be looking at a different story. But he's going to be 66 years old by the end of the 2025 season when he would get a head coaching job for the first time at the absolute earliest. All the jobs are filled for 2024, so 2025 would be the earliest so you get an opportunity. By the end of that season, he'd be 66 years old. That would already make him the second oldest coach in football right now, behind Andy Reid, who would be 67 during that time period. The average age of coaches is 47 years old. The bulk of guys are under 50. Right now, only 2 guys above 60 years old, and that's John Harbaugh and Andy Reid. So in Steve Spagnuolo, you beginning as a head coach, a coach with one of the worst stints of all time, 3 years of disaster with the Rams, who would already be one of the oldest, so you wonder how many years he would legitimately have left. There is no chance this happens. Look, Steve Spagnuolo is a great defensive coordinator. Nobody's saying otherwise. But there are some guys that are great coordinators. They're not fit to be head coaches. There are some guys that are great at leading a position group, smaller groups of people, but in terms of being the CEO, leading an entire team, it's a different story. And Steve Spagnuolo, based on history, based on his resume, falls into that latter category in all likelihood. I don't think he's getting a second chance anytime soon. I'd be shocked if he gets a second interview with the team anytime soon. His other stint was too disastrous. He's too old. It just wouldn't be a smart hire for any team. He's got a great thing going in Kansas City, and he's probably going to stay there for a long time as the defensive coordinator, so long as Andy Reid is there, simply because I don't see any team poaching him as their head coach based on prior history. But what are your thoughts? Do you think Steve Spagnuolo deserves a second shot to be a head coach in the NFL? What were your thoughts on his time with the Rams? Let me know in the comments down below. And that's going to do it for this episode of JJ9 News. Be sure you like and subscribe. It helps the channel out a lot. And be sure to check out my main channel, Jaguar9, where we talk all things NFL history all the time. Until next time, this is Jaguar9 signing off. And as always, go Jags.